Welcome to your journey of healing with the Healing Podcast, hosted by licensed clinician Monique Owe and co-host Dr. Amber Mohn.
Thank you for tuning into the Healing Podcast. I'm your host, Monique Owe, and joined by my lovely co-host,
Dr. Amber Mohn.
Today's topic is, my relationship has gone silent. So this is an episode about the importance of communication in a relationship, because when it's not there, the relationship is just silent. It is just there. You're not talking to each other. You're not sharing your thoughts, your feelings. You're not bonding. It's just there. It's just a title. It's a relationship. Dr. Mohn, we know it's important to communicate in a relationship, but why do you think people stop communicating?
There are so many different reasons as to why, couples, stop communicating. But, I think the biggest thing nowadays is sometimes we just let life get in the way. If you and your partner, are both living busy professional lives, then there are conflicting work schedules, external, work stresses, maybe even like other, difficult relationships with a manager, team, or even family member. You can have, it can have a negative effect on your relationship. You can kind of stay to yourself. But then there's, arguments. You arguing all the time. You get sometimes you get a partner who just, wants to just shut down. They're tired of arguing. And then there's like infidelity. We all know that, when infidelity kicks in, the communication, probably is more, negative than anything. And then that, can lead to loss of emotional intimacy, So if one, feels like, they can't trust the other, with just like their deepest fears, secrets, hopes, feelings, they have a fear that the partner is being emotionally intimate with someone else, can be damaging to a relationship. So that's just a few of them.
Thank you. Makes sense, Dr. Mohn, everything you said. I think, we let outside distractions trickle inside of the bond. And it is hard because you're being pulled in so many directions. So you just, next thing you know, it's been a week since you've really communicated, and a week turns into a month, and a month is a year, and you're like, it's been basic. But a relationship can't survive like that, without you sharing with your partner your thoughts, feelings, and vice versa. It just can't, because you're not learning each other. You're not learning the new you, because, we change. You're probably not the same person you were when you first got together. And that's a good thing, because you should evolve. But if you don't share that with your partner, make sure your partner's in tune, that can be an issue, right? I think the other reason why people don't communicate in relationships is because they don't communicate in the way the partner can understand. They communicate in the way they understand. So that's like a hint of the love languages. If you're not familiar with the love languages, you should pick up the book. It's pretty good. It's a very good read. Or you can Google the love languages. Dr. Mo, have you heard of the love languages?
I have.
Okay. So, the love languages usually teach you that you should communicate in the language that your partner understands versus the way you understand, because it's better received. And that will help the relationship to grow strong. But when you don't do that, here you have the silence. I don't want to talk to you. You don't want to talk to me, right, Dr. Mo? Like, I'm rolling my eyes at you when you go like, oh, God, here you come. You're doing the same to me, or we're avoiding each other, right, Dr. Mo? We're avoiding each other.
Right.
We're staying longer at work. We're pulling into the driveway. You're not getting out the car right away, right? You're scrolling, or in the bed next to each other. You scrolling, they scrolling. Good night, and both of y'all asleep, backs towards each other. Or if you don't live together, just once a week. Oh, you coming this weekend? Yeah, okay. I'll talk to you later. And next, it's been like 2 days. Like, oh, I'll see you Sunday. Yeah, okay. It's not any enthusiasm. Just going back to the love language really quick. The 5 love languages are, physical touch, positive affirmation, quality time, acts of service, and gifts. We all have that thing that we kind of drive toward, that pulls us. And when our partner communicates with us in that way, communication is great. But when they constantly communicate with us in a way that's like, okay, I don't like this thing right here. I don't know why you gave this to why you mentioning this. It's like a turnoff. But Dr. Mohn, because it's important, it's a lifeline for us to talk to our significant other. You would think it's easy to remember, talk to that person.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it not easy? Why don't we just remember that?
I think it's just, again, you're distracted, with other things, especially when you got other things going on. And then, if it's the busy work and, maybe a trauma happened, you're in your own head.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can easily be distracted.
Yeah.
But if it's just not trusting, then you don't trust that person anymore. You don't trust them with your feelings. Maybe they didn't take care of it when you told them how you feel. Maybe they, went on deaf ears and you said, you know what, don't worry about it. I'm not, going to say anything. So again, just depending on the person and the situation, the reason as to why you don't communicate or why it's just broken is, it varies.
Dr. Ma, doing that. So, you mentioned something very good. Like if it's a huge distraction going on, maybe one has something going on. Maybe they got to take care of a loved one. Maybe the loved one is sick, so they're distracted with how much care they have to provide to the loved one, or just something else going on in their life. They're so distracted because it's taking so much time and energy. Would you say it's at those moments that the other partner has to realize this is when they're going to really have to be a support for them?
Absolutely.
Let me be a support for this person. This is that cycle, because if not, if that other partner feels like, well, you're not paying attention to me, and you're constantly getting on the other one, you're not paying attention to me, that pushes the other person further or farther apart, right?
Absolutely.
Because they're so focused on, you see, I have all this going on, but yet you're still telling me what I'm not giving you, versus the person being supportive.
Absolutely.
I think that draws people away, right? So I guess with communication comes a little bit of sacrifice.
Yes, and understanding.
Yep, very true. Got to understand each other. We got to take time out to understand. Well, I guess if we would put the other person's needs first, we would understand that. Like, you see what they have going on. You see the job has been stressing them out. They got a new manager, or they have a new promotion, and they know they're being pulled. And instead of the other partner trying to find a way, well, let's find a creative way to come, and then make you laugh, just even if it's a brief moment. Instead of the other partner doing that, there's the argument, And that's where we have a problem, because our relationship needs to be watered. And the water for the relationship is the communication,
yes.
Right? Okay,
yes.
Dr. Mohn, all right. Well, before we get into still how important the communication is and the things that pull you away and what you can do, we're going to make a quick segue here, and you guessed it, we're going to go into the situation. Dr. Mohn, what's our situation for today?
Okay, so our situation is pulled from the internet. So here's our situation. I'm a woman in my 40s, and I cannot get rid of this older gentleman. He is 69 years old. He looks it and acts like it. I'm not trying to be ugly or mean, but I am not physically attracted to him. I have told him this in a nice, gentle way. He just doesn't get it. He helped me out financially, sometimes when I have asked and sometimes without me asking. I told him I see him as a father figure. He wants to see me all of the time. When he does see me, he gets touchy-feely, which I don't like. I've never been with him intimately. To him, our age is just a number. I have tried to introduce him to women closer to his age, but he complains about them and says they have too many health issues. How can I get him? How can I let him down easy? Oh my goodness. Okay, so the first mistake was probably taking money from him. Because once you do that, I'm not gonna say he thinks you're his, but he's might expect something in return, especially due to the age difference. Oh man, goodness. I think that you've already tried to let him down easy and it didn't work. So I think that you need to be direct and say that this is not going to work. I am not interested in having a friendship or a relationship with you, because I don't think that you're going to be able to have a friendship. And to be honest with you, you say you see him as a father figure, but what is he giving you? That's probably, like what is he providing to you? If he's not giving you money, which I think that this relationship is why this relationship is here, but you say it's not, what is he giving you? Why is this relationship valuable, to you? Doesn't seem like it's valuable to me, so I would probably just say, don't worry about it. We can't be friends. We can't, and just cut off all communication. So that's what I would suggest. Monique, what do you think?
Yeah. Well, listening to this scenario, yeah. The fact that you took the money, the fact that you go visit him. I think you mentioned he gets touchy-feely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if it's a person you're not attracted to, I'm not going to spend that much time in your space. So the fact that you're saying that you taking money from him, sometimes you've asked for it and sometimes he just gives it. And the fact that you go over when he asks you to come over, he's not that type of friend. You know he's attracted to you and you're not. So y'all can't be going over. He can't come over and you can't go over. So what do you do to let him down easily? Like Dr. Mohn said, you already did that. My thing is stop talking to him. Yeah. That's it. It's one of those, we stop talking. When he texts you, it's one of those, you can let him know one last time, I think I'm good on this. We're going to keep our boundary. And that's it. And let that be happen each time until he gets to the point. And please stop taking money from him because it's only going to keep you in this cycle. And I guess the fatherly Dr. Mohn was because he gives her money. Maybe, when she's struggling, he comes through like a father, but we can't have that. Oh boy, I swear, sometimes the older gentlemen get like that. And the fact that you said he looks and acts his age, I think, that's not going to be for you. So stop interacting with him respectfully, okay? If you have a situation would like to write into the Healing Podcast, go to support@thehealingpodcast.com. Or you can go to the website, thehealingpodcast.com, and hit the contact tab and reach out to us that way. And before we go back into our topic, we're going to have a word from our sponsor, Healing Expressions.
Are you someone who has been considering therapy? Perhaps someone else has told you that you need to talk to a therapist. Or maybe you're in a relationship and you want to discuss some challenges that you've been facing with your significant other. Maybe there's a communication issue, perhaps an incident of infidelity. Or maybe you just want to strengthen your relationship because you guys are thinking about taking another step. Maybe you're struggling with anxiety or depression, perhaps grief, life stressors, and you just want to share your thoughts with someone. Well, consider contacting Healing Expressions. Healing Expressions is a private practice located in the Atlanta, Georgia area. You will be given a session at an affordable price with a licensed therapist. If this resonates with you, consider going to healingexpressionsllc.com, reading about the practice, and hitting the contact tab to see if you can book a session. All right. Thank you so much. And back to the Healing Podcast.
Okay. So back into the topic of my relationship has gone silent. So Dr. Mohn, we talked about, the reasons why a relationship may go silent. We have stuff going on. We're distracted. The person's not communicating in our love language. We're just not, we have just things going on. The fizz has gone from the relationship. So why, Dr. Mohn, is that important? Why do we need that? Because we talked about it's gone silent. Why do we need that communication as oxygen? Why is that?
Well, because you definitely need that outlet, Monique. You can't bottle everything up. You can't take everything, on. And so typically, it makes sense to, rely on your partner, your best friend, your husband, your wife, significant other. So you definitely need to utilize the person that you see every day, who's there, who you trust.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's the bridge. It's how we get to know each other. The communication is what keeps us connected. It's what keeps us in tune because, see, there are going to be times where I can't give you a hug. Maybe I can't hold your hand. What if I'm out of state traveling or something? I got to be able to talk to you so we still can remain connected. So the communication is our connection. It's the way we build our trust. It's the way our love grows. It's the way we begin to understand each other or continue to understand each other. So it is definitely something that is needed and that we should focus on our attention on and make sure it's very important because it is just that vital. It's like a vital organ to a relationship, Hopefully you've been able to do that with your significant other and hopefully you're having fun doing it, Dr. Mohn. I think, there's some good conversations with partners, right? Mm-hmm. Everything is not bad. When it's deep, you can laugh together when you do it. You can spend time together. You can understand what each other's needs are. You can understand when the needs have changed, right? Because that is, I think, the blueprint. That is your story. I think the communication, Dr. Mohn, is like the couple developing their story. And we need to all be willing to write a page and then read it. Let the person write their page and read it. That's what I'll say. So, Dr. Mohn, so we know those distractions that can get in the way. We know what can happen if we don't, I guess, end of the relationship, right?
Yes.
If we don't. Well, is there a way for a relationship to survive if it does not have communication?
Not a healthy one.
Okay.
But it can. I mean,
Okay.
I just think that eventually, if you're not communicating effectively, then eventually you're just going to grow apart. So if you are, wanting to, keep this relationship with this person and, you want to make it a healthy one, then I don't think there's any other way to do it. You have to communicate effectively. You do.
Okay. So we know we have communication is key. We're sorry if your relationship has gone silent, but the reminder is to get it back going. Dr. Mohn, I think a suggestion would be here. They have those games, those like relationship games, like you pick a card and you ask the person the question. I think that'll be helpful, right?
Oh,
Having
yeah,
those type of games, having different game nights when you have to work together, kind of like talk to each other. That helps boost it. Dr. Mohn, what else can somebody do to kind of get the communication back?
So I know one thing that me and my husband do is around our anniversary, we will pull out a piece of paper that we kept in a file from last year, and we'll ask each other, we'll have a list of questions on there. What are some things that you want me to do that I haven't done enough?
I like that.
These questions.
Yeah, I like
and
that.
And then you'll come back to it and say, okay, so where are you now? With this, is this something that you still want? Do you think that I've done it enough? And so I think that kind of keeps you in tune with, your partner's needs and so forth. Monique, don't get me started because, this is one of the things I like. So, but that's an effective way to communicate and make sure that you're in tune with your partner.
Yeah.
Give you some things to work on for the year.
I love that, Dr. Mohn. I love what you and your husband do, and that check-in and making sure everything is good. The other thing I'm going to say, every relationship needs a tune-up. Just like your car needs to run with a tune-up, it needs to get the key parts checked to make sure they're functioning. You need to do a tune-up of your partner, not of yourself. I know you need to do self-care, but I'm talking about do a tune-up of your partner. Make sure, have you thanked them? Have you loved them? Have you given them a hug? If they're watching something else, okay, would they like to be alone, have some peaceful moments? Would they like you to be together to watch a show? Just do a tune-up or a check-in. I think that helps too.
Can I add to that,
Sure.
Monique? Because you're absolutely right. And I was actually talking to one of my friends about this, just friendships. Sometimes we're so busy in our lives that we, and what I told her was, I think about you more than we speak. And so sometimes, you're thinking about this person and you mean to call them or you mean to say that, like, something.
Yeah.
You mean to thank them and you don't. Well, they don't know unless you say it. So make it a priority that, hey, you know what? I've been thinking about you. Going back to the partner. I just wanted to thank you. Last week you did something. I really appreciate that. So I agree with you, Monique. You definitely need to make sure that you do thank your partner and give them those positives that they're doing, throughout the week or the month. Because it feels good to hear. I like hearing it.
Of course. So. Of course. I think, that is very true. Thank you, Dr. Mohn. I think, you got to just make sure you do that check-in. Don't assume your partner knows, right, Dr. Mohn? I think with your friend there, it was but I think about you more than you know or whatever, more than you think. But I don't know that. If I'm a friend, I can't assume that. So I think what happens too is we assume our partner knows how we feel. Well, you should know how I feel because you see what I'm going through. Well, no, talk about how you feel. Express it. Tell them how much this issue is weighing on you. Tell them what you need so they can also tell you what they need so you guys can come together. So that is why communication is important so that your relationship does not go silent because we don't want your relationship to be silent any longer. So take time out to get to know each other and to continue to communicate. Dr. Mohn, anything else about this topic?
No.
Okay, so I will leave you with this. Communication to a relationship is like oxygen is to life. Without it, it dies. I thank you for tuning into the Healing Podcast, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.